All right, so welcome if you're watching this on YouTube. And we are going to start on our backs with some support underneath the back. So I've folded up a blanket to about this shape. It's like about 12 by 12 size maybe, so it can support my lower back and my hips. And you come down, get yourself comfortable. Hips should be nice and heavy. And relax the shoulders, arms to the sides, flip the fingers, facing up, invites a little receiving. Maybe the idea of not knowing what you're going to be receiving and being open to whatever it is for you. Close your eyes, maybe open up the mouth and move the jaw around, so let go of any clenching. And spread your eyes. And if you haven't already, take a nice deep breath in through the nose and just let it out through the mouth. As many as you need, inhaling through the nose, letting it out through the mouth. Think of your inhalation as receiving and your exhalation as releasing. And I love this quote by a teacher named Mary Dunn. And she says, we practice yoga for the joy of setting aside the practical demands of our daily life to learn more about peace and the art of being. Sounds simple, but sometimes coming into stillness can be the hardest part. So allow yourself to maybe bring your awareness to that soft whiff of air that just strokes the back of your throat as you inhale and exhale. Maybe it's just simply the rise and fall of your chest. Remembering that idea of don't need to force, just feel. Maybe taking your one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest, and as you take a breath in through the nose, again letting it out through the mouth. And then start to notice the physical sensations as you inhale. Maybe you notice the belly or the rib cage expand, eventually all the way into the chest. And then as you exhale, just surrendering, imagining. Sometimes I like to think of the exhalation as kind of like a hug. Like when you hug someone, you have this like, sensation. And that it can be a nice place to notice in your exhalation. You can continue with your natural breathing rhythm. No effort on your part, just riding that wave of the breath in and out. Or you can continue to count your inhalations to incorporate and engage a little more opening and expansion through the chest. Softening somewhere. The exhalation will create some softness. Somewhere you might need to let go of the tension or stress, or tightness from physical activity. So you can also count the inhalations and exhalations, trying to create the synchronicity of your breath with the same count. Just options. Coming back to your natural breathing rhythm. Letting your hand that's on your chest, just take both hands on the belly and widen your elbows as much as you need to really relax the shoulders. And if it's more comfortable, feel free to take the hands to the sides. And then just give yourself a little slide of the knees, like maybe just 10% of your full range. And if you have your hand on the belly, you'll just start to notice the sensation of the belly just gliding underneath of the palms. And then maybe let your head rock with you, especially if you're up on a block, depending on how high your support is. It may not be super safe for you to take your knees into the big wide fold. Just go side to side, maybe you lift up. As you're rotating to the left, you just lift that right hip up a little bit. Thinking about whatever range you're in, that it's complete and total bliss for your hips and your back. There's no big stretch. And then slide your arms away, slide your elbows up so you're more in like cactus or goalpost arms. And then maybe widen your feet towards the outer edges of the mat if you haven't already. Come forward a little bit. Start to your chest, arch your back slightly. Again, you have to check in and make sure that it feels okay. And slowly set the lower back. And then again, just a little arch, like you're puffing out the belly. Pull the shoulders down to the ground so you're drawing them away from each other. And just slowly draw the elbows down to the sides, walk your feet in, turn your palms facing down, arms are towards the side body. So your feet are hip width apart and you're walking them in a little closer like we would in bridge pose. And then just engage the feet and let your hips just hover. You don't have to go up high, so there's not a lot of engagement in the thighs, just enough so your hips off. And then lower it back down, feel the shoulders relax. Inhale, lift one more time. Maybe a little bit more engagement into that right heel and then the right foot. And then soften a little into the right, engage into that left heel and a little into the foot, or the mound of the toes, I should say. And then go back and forth a few times. It's really more about your feet, and you'll feel more strength into that thigh, and then also a little into your hip. But just keep the hips heavy and low, just not on the support. Good. And you're not bumping the pelvis or the hips back and forth too much. You're just shifting the weight. And then pull the hips down a little towards the heels. Your shoulders will come up to your ears, and then slowly set your back down. It won't be the exact place it was before. And then slide the fingers forward, tuck the chin, and then lift the chin. Now your shoulders are away from your ears. Take a big breath in through the nose, let it out through the mouth. And then before we come to support, if you want to, you can start to lengthen the right leg and then maybe into the left. This will really change the orientation of your experience, especially in the lower back. And you may be a little off of your support. So if that doesn't feel comfortable, skip it. We're going to come off of the support in about 3 breaths anyway. So stay there if you want to extend. Otherwise, slide that support out. And then slowly now you can walk one leg down and then let the other leg. Flip the palms facing up. Start to slide the arms up over the top of the head, but the palms and the forearms are all just relaxing. You're touching the ground or the floor if you have the space, hopefully. When you get to the top, you can give yourself a stretch. The shoulders are connected with the ears. That's okay for now. And then relax the arms and go back down a few more times. Lots of stuff in the way here, and then if you want to incorporate the legs, you can also open up the legs. So think about a snow angel. If you ever came to the ground in a nice, fun snowstorm, and then you just started creating these snow angels. Eventually bringing the legs together, walk the feet in, and then hold underneath the thighs. You can interlock the fingers if you want to, and just kind of hang out here. And just let the weight of your thighs and your legs and gravity create this kind of like an impression with your spine on the mat. Or you can hold in front of the shins. If you want to be more dynamic, you can round and curl, tucking the chin, pulling in the core slightly, and then coming down. But it feels really good just to kind of hang out, holding underneath. And then you can roll a little side to side if you want to. Eventually undoing the hands, hold on to the kneecaps. Bring the knees, like if you extended your arms out about that far. And then you're going to take that left knee and then take the right knee over. Maybe you're going to roll all the way to the side. Start to lift into that right knee up. You have this wide opening, and then come back through the center, and then you can take it to the other side. So kind of your choice as to how wide you want the knees to be. If you want to roll over all the way, just let your body imagine kind of that ragdoll feeling once you get to the other side. Just move back and forth. You might even feel your head round, or kind of roll over all the way onto the forehead. And check and make sure that your knees aren't in so close that you feel like you're really rolling on the spine, not the fleshy part of your low back and buttocks. And take that a few more times, and then we'll meet in a modified happy baby pose where you flip the feet up towards the ceiling, maybe a flex so that you can really feel a stretch in your Achilles behind the ankles. And then maybe you roll the ankles around, roll the toes, and then holding underneath the thighs. Give yourself an inner thigh stretch here. So you can just let the elbows relax. You can kind of cup the side of your thighs and let them rest. Lower back is on the ground. And you get that little stretch if you'd like to. And then we'll point the toes, flex the feet. Use your hands to draw the knees back in towards each other. Take your left foot to the floor. Keep your right leg up and bend a lot into the knee. Give yourself a little massage of the leg. So we've done it a couple of ways. You can use your fingertips and kind of glide up and down. Just make sure you're not pressing on your shin bone. And really with enough intention that you can feel a little warmth. Or you can do the kind of swish down, sweep shape of thing. You can always get all the way into the foot. If you feel like the foot needs a little massage, go for it. And then press a little into your left foot. Straighten, or kind of extend, I should say, into this right leg to get a little hamstring stretch. So it's up to you. You can hold behind the thigh here and do that. You can point and flex, or you can just flex and get an idea of how that feels for you and where you should be holding, how much you should be stretching, and pay attention to your body today, and then let that foot float down. Go ahead and take one leg long, the right leg long, then the left leg long. Give yourself a minute there, let the thighs roll out. Take a breath in through the nose, let it out through the mouth, and then slowly walk the legs in. Feet are on the floor, take that left leg up, same thing on this side, a massage or a sweeping. And if there's a particular place, like your calf maybe, or your back of your thigh, feels a little bit tighter than somewhere else, and stay in that place and kind of give it a little extra attention. Check in with your neck. Maybe give your head just a little roll side to side. Open up the mouth, release the jaw. It's natural to sort of create maybe a little tension somewhere while you're focusing on somewhere else. And then float that leg down. Take your feet wide towards the outer edges of the mat. Draw the knees towards each other, hands on the belly. Take the elbows wide so you can relax the shoulders and the hands. Take a big breath in through the nose and let it out through the mouth. All right, so we're pressing to the feet, bringing the feet closer together. Roll over onto one side or the other. Take your time bringing yourself up, and we will meet on all fours. So give yourself time in the transition. If you need to adjust or move something away. And then coming up onto all fours, walk your hands in front of you like you're pawing. You're like a cat walking your hands out. Give yourself a little stretch here. Maybe come onto the forearms. Send the sitting bones back. Relax the forehead. And then take an inhale, draw the fingertips towards the sides as you come up onto your knees. Open the arms nice and wide. Take your eye gaze just straight ahead of you, maybe a little lift in the chin. Check in with the tops of the feet and make sure that your feet are directly behind you, not out or in towards each other. And then imagine you press a little into the knees and press the thighs forward a little bit. Go ahead and bend into the elbows, maybe goalposts, arms, or hands can be on the hips as well. If you need to take a moment and give yourself a little extra cushion, I happen to be on carpet plus a cushy mat, but I highly recommend keeping your towel or putting some extra support under your knees. And then take the arms up, inhale, exhale, take the hands, split the palms so that they're facing forward, draw the fingers down, spread out the fingers. And then inhale, reach the hands up so that they're directly in front of you and right in line with your shoulders. Tuck the chin just a little bit and then bend at the elbow and imagine that you're going to tap your shoulder or a little bit in the back, just wherever you can, it's natural for you to reach. And then try the other side. And then just go back and forth a few times. So don't let yourself lose that nice foundation of the legs and the tops of the feet. You're nice and strong and you're rooting down, but you're also rising up. And then just tap. Tap with intention. Reach out and back. You can tuck the chin slightly. Good. Then reach the arms or hands towards one another. Inhale, rise the arms up. Turn towards the right side. And then just let your right arm float back. Give yourself a circle with that right arm. So you're kind of rotating back. And then check and see when your arm goes up and then you start to go down, you might need to flip that palm so that you can rotate it and you're safely rotating on your shoulder. So maybe you can see my hands a little bit more. Good. And then come back up and try it on the other side. If the arm that's in the air, that's not a comfortable position, you can always take that arm to the hip. So first you want to inhale and then just rotate the whole torso, your hips, everything, not just your back. Right? And then as you turn, then turn to circle that arm around, flipping the palm. Keeping that other arm up, it's active. Certainly take it aside. It might even change your experience there. One more time. And then bring that arm up. We'll go ahead and go down. Take the hands down to the ground. Give yourself another stretch of the back. Come to the forearms. Relax into your puppy pose. The hips stay high. Feel a nice length in the spine. Just take 5 more breaths there. Really feel just as you need to. If you want to start to draw the shoulders back or the arms back in to release the shoulders a little bit and just keep the back stretched, that's great too. And then coming up onto your forearms. So shift the weight forward slightly. Check and make sure that your knees aren't in too close to each other. You want to have a really good foundation here. So we're going to play around with some balancing today. So shift your weight a little bit side to side. Make sure you can see me okay. And then walk your right knee in towards the center. Take your left leg long and then just pulse a little bit. Maybe you want to feel the hamstring. Maybe it just feels good in the Achilles. And play around with that. You can keep a big bend into the knee, or you can take the leg more straight. Try not to take your eye gaze forward and create too many wrinkles in the back of the neck. Feel the shoulders come away from each other and from your ears. And then you can play around with some balance here. So it's really important to think about the knee maybe right underneath the hip is a little bit better because you have your bones stacked. Maybe, so kind of play around with where your knee is once you start to play around with lifting up the left leg. If it's in too close, you're going to fall over. If it's in too far, you're going to wiggle around. So just play around with that. And then if you want to go higher, coming right out of the hip, take your toes down towards the ground. Shift the weight either forward or back, noticing where the balance is. Let your head drop, relax the neck, maybe peek back at your toes. Pull the belly up and in a little bit, and then you can relax that knee down. Feel free to go back into child's or into puppy pose for a moment. Take a breath. Maybe your shoulders would like a break. Eventually coming back up, but take your time. Reconnect with your breath. And we'll try it on the other side. So maybe walk the knee in slightly or keep it there. You might feel like, why did she have us move it in? Because it was unstable for you. But sometimes our leg shifts away. So I just want you to place it and then you can replace it after you take your leg back. Toes in, you don't want your toes facing in, you want them to stay directly in line with the knee. And then pull the shoulders away from the ears. Maybe shift the weight back a little bit. And then lift, playing around with your balance. Try to keep your hips square towards the mat as opposed to lifting it up and open. Eye into your neck, so not craning it and looking up and looking forward. And then slowly placing it down. Open up your knees nice and wide. And you can stay here on your forearms. Interlock the hands and then just shift your weight back and forth. Back and forth. If you want to sink back into your extended child's pose, feel free to stay there. Otherwise, you can just move a little back and forth. Take a moment to take your hands, undo the connection of the fingers, and then just bring your hands so that their fingers, your thumbs are inside of the elbows. So that is really, I should have told you that in the very beginning, I apologize, but the wider, sometimes people go wide when they start to balance, and the problem is that your shoulders collapse in the middle, as opposed to if you have your alignment, then your shoulders, your bones are stacked, and that's where you want to be. So maybe try your balance again just for a moment. If you felt like your elbows were too wide. So check and make sure, and then open, and then you can play around with that balance. It doesn't matter how high up your leg goes. And then put the other one down, and then try it one more time. Really have to pull the shoulders away from the ears, broadening through the back, through the neck. Otherwise, it can really bother the shoulders. And then come up onto your hands and knees. And you can shake your hips a little side to side, like wag your tail a bit, come into your neutral table. And then we'll extend again, but this time it should feel a little bit less pressure on the wrists, or on the shoulders here. So straighten that left leg back, lift up that leg, maybe slide the fingers forward, palm facing in, or you can reach the arm forward for bird dog. Pull your belly up and in, lift the body away. Shift the weight back if it's a little much in the wrists. Take a big breath in and then switch to the other side. You can also, if you have a block, you can use a block, which is nice because it kind of brings the ground up a little bit so there's a little less pressure on the wrists. So we'll take the right leg back. Lift away from the ground, sink into your wrists, and then lift up that leg, and then lift up that arm. Hold it in. Strong, strong. Good. And then exhale. Come back down, come onto your forearms and just shake. Let your head relax. Shake it no, shake it yes. And then slide the fingers so that they come up towards the ceiling. You're on your knees. And then exhale. Take the fingertips down to the sides. You can either round and curl here, go all the way to your child's pose, or just keep a flat back. Extend through crown of the head. If you go too far forward, your feet might come off the ground. You can kind of balance by lifting up the tops of the feet or shift the weight back a little bit. And then inhale and come up. So create a flow. Just feel like you're opening, you're releasing some tension from that effort in the balancing poses. So you can go down, you can come up into a heart opener, or you can keep a flat back, lengthening the sitting bones back, the lower back, keeping your neck safe. Nice. And then we'll take a little bit of a thread. We're not going to stay and take a big twist in the thread, but we're going to come to your hands and knees and then take that left elbow up. And then just imagine that you're taking your hand like it would maybe go towards your underneath your arm a little bit. And then take a little, don't worry about how far up you go. Just let yourself rock. Inhaling the elbow up. If it's accessible, you can certainly go all the way up with the arm. Trying not to have too much effort in the pelvis, swaying your hips side to side. Try to keep a little less movement hips. And then try it in the other side. Inhale, right elbow up, and then just good pose for not forcing, just feeling. Good. And then bring your hands behind. So left hand on the back of your, at the base of your, like right down with the lower back, and then take the right palm on top. And then imagine that you're drawing the skin down. You're using your palm, back of your palm, and instead of thinking about tucking the tailbone, just think about the sitting pulling down towards your heels. So you can kind of do a little pelvic tilting here and kind of notice when you're feeling a big arch or when you feel like you're compressing into the belly, and find where you feel more length in this lower back. Good. And then take an inhale, reach the arms up, maybe a little press of the hips forward, relax the shoulders. You can either take your hands behind your head, creating a little bit for you to relax the back of the head, or take your fingers to the tips of your ears. This might feel more accessible for the shoulders. And then as you inhale, you can round a little into the upper back, like elbows come in, exhale out. Don't focus so much on how far the elbows go in and out as much as how much the chest opens. A little bit. When you open, the chest like wants to lift, but the back, the upper back wants to relax. Shoulder blades want to go, ah. Okay? Just one more time. And then let the elbows be soft, come down to your sides. You're going to bring your right or left, it doesn't matter. Actually, one leg in front of you. You're going to come up to standing and try a little balancing there. Curl the back toes, whichever knee you have first. In front, but just curl the back toes for a minute, press into the front foot, and then lift, like it almost creates this kind of lift of the hips, a little bit more length on the side. Really strong into the feet, pressing into the heel, curling the toes into that front foot. Yeah. And then slowly try to switch. You hold on to something or take your fingers down for a moment. Keep the knee over the ankle. And then again, curl the toes. Really important to have some support under the knees because if you're worrying about and it's really painful, I've had that experience where it's like, should I grab the blanket? No, do it. Much better. Press back with the finger or the toes, and then front into that foot. Really, the legs super engaged, really, especially the quadricep, and really strong. How strong that is, and it's nice because it's supporting your hips and creating a little more strength. And then you can relax the back foot, and then either come down to your hands and come up to standing, or curl the back toes and take your hands to thigh. Just a lift off of that foot, and then come up. And come to try some balance. If you have a piece of furniture or a wall handy, highly recommend it. Given how energetic you are, it's gentle yoga, and it's really good for us to still practice some strength and some balance for sure. But it's also nice to have some support, and, especially if you're not feeling as energetic today, or you don't need a really energetic practice. So reach the arms up. Think of your Tadasana pose. So Urdhva Asana, where we have our arms over the top of the head. We're in Tadasana. Bring your hands down to heart center. Tip your chin slightly. And then as you lift the chin, feel how it's like the chest and the chin move away from each other. As you close your eyes, shift the weight so that you are equal in both lifts. You want to roll to the heels and to the toes slightly. And think of the inner squeezing in towards each other a little bit. It sort of gives you this I'm a little taller sensation. And then take your hands to the sides. Now your legs are feeling a little engaged. Start shifting the weight onto not just the feet, but onto the leg, or to each leg. So take your hands to your hips first, and then step forward into your left foot, and then just start to shift the weight back and forth. So you're going to curl onto the right toes, lift the back heel, and then shift so your right foot is making a print into the mat as you lift the front toes, and just go back and forth a little bit. And try not to lose that awareness of from your waist up. Keep the integrity of your spine, like you're needing the whole of this. And then we're slowly going to shift the weight onto the left foot, and then onto the left leg. You can keep a micro bend in the knee if you need to. And then from here, I find it easiest to stay here on my hips first, because I kind of draw, it's like I'm a little bit drawing the hips down, pressing down a little bit as I'm rising up to the crown of my head, and then I'm really using my whole foot, my whole leg to support me. And then slowly, just imagine, maybe you need to bend a little into the knee and walk your toes back a little bit, maybe not. And then just see if you can play around, either being on the toes, and start balancing on this leg, meaning you have a wall. It's great because you can just take one hand and hold it there as you play around with the, and then you can let the fingers off the wall or off the chair. Keep your eye gaze, find one drishti, one point where you're keeping your focus and your breath. If you're feeling balanced and you want more challenge, then you would just tilt, thinking of yourself as a balancing stick. Those sticks people use at the gym, they hold on, they put it like on their spine, and then they draw it down and up. Take one more nice deep breath in, and then exhale, shift the weight back onto the right foot, all the way onto the right foot as you slide the left toes. And then you can play around with maybe same thing, you can use the wall or the furniture, one hand, and then just play around with lifting the toes or not. sure that you're breathing, maybe even smile. Smiling would probably be a really good idea here because it kind of gives us a little good. And then just take that left foot, slide it back, and then pedal out the feet a little bit, but also notice any sensations. Take a deep breath in and let it out. And you're going now to do the other side. All right, take your time. Take a breath in, step forward with the right foot this time, and then start to shift the weight onto the right leg. Now you know where we're going, so I maybe won't give you quite as much, but just take it in pieces and increments. And keep breathing and noticing. It'll be completely different perhaps on this side too, which is always interesting. You want to let the hands go, the sides, or any other place, again, holding on to a wall or a piece of furniture. The props are not because you can't do this. The props are because you can do the pose. You just need work to help build on your practice. And then take those toes behind you, play around them. Maybe you're feeling wobbly. If you are on a carpet, it's harder. It's, I think, much harder than when you're on the surface. Hard floor. And mind. Keep lifting. Nice breath in. And then we'll shift the weight back onto the left foot. And then on with lifting the toes of the right leg. You'll notice maybe one side is a little bit less strenuous than the other maybe. And so you can play around with your whatever works. Maybe smile again. And then slowly take those right toes back to meet the left toes. Come into your Tadasana way and just close your eyes and notice how you created this strength within your body and some support for your spine and your bone structure. Even if it was difficult, even if it was messing around with your ego. And then let your arms up softly. Take a big inhale. And then bend the knees. Exhale, just let your arms go. Inhale, come up and be nice and soft. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. Take it a couple more times. And then widen the feet. You can come down with a flat back. So like I said, I have osteoporosis, and I've learned a lot. The things is that you want to keep your spine nice and long, as opposed to doing a lot of flexion. So forward folding and really rounding down, not so good, because the front of your spine and the back of your spine, when they come together, it can create little microfractures. Otherwise, really good, super awesome to hang, and I can do it keeping a flat back and also hanging as well, but I just want you to know, if mine looks different than yours, that's the reason. So if you want to round and forward fold, take your hands down. I always say keep a big bend in your knees, maybe the belly and the thighs come together, and then you can just let your head relax and hold opposite elbow. Whatever forward fold feels good. If you have a block, you can take your hands to. Good. And then switch out your arms if you are doing opposite elbows. And then imagine and bring the focus to your feet. Slide your hands up and use your legs. Press into those legs, and they might be a little sore, but from the balance of it, and then relax. Oh, and then we'll come back down. I think we'll come onto your belly for a moment, and we'll lengthen spine a little bit more. So come all the way down, take your time, onto your foot, and then onto your belly. Bring your arms a little bit further in front of you, hip width or a little wider for your legs. And then bring your palms together on top, and you can rest the forehead, or you can take your fists And then just shimmy the hips a little side to side. See how your lower back feels. Slide the arms out, maybe a little bit like a Y here. And you can tense your fingers and then lift the chest, lengthen the crown of the head forward. Bring the arms in front of you, and then start to slide the elbows back one at a time so the elbows are underneath of the shoulders. Take a breath in, exhale, and then roll the shoulders away from the ears. Lift the chin a little bit. If this is a little too much arch in your lower back, just take the elbows a little bit further away so that you have more, there's a little there, you're not feeling like it's too much arch in the lower back. And then shake out. Take an inhale and an exhale. Tuck the chin, stretch out the back of the neck, and then just lift the chin so that your eye gaze is still down towards the mat. Tuck the chin. Notice how this feels on your spine. And you're also drawing the shoulders away. So if you feel the shoulders here, make sure that you imagine that you're, or not imagine, but pull them away from the ears. And you can do that without tucking the chin and untucking the chin. You can just stay here and practice pulling away, pulling the shoulders in, pulling them away, and then eventually coming down. Forearms or fists. Widen your knees a little bit wider than hip width apart or towards the outer edges, and shimmy the hips and the feet. Go side to side. This should feel really good, and it doesn't mean that you should, the bigger the range, the more that you feel good. It's really about paying attention to the sensations it creates in your back in particular. It's not about where the knees and the feet go. And then slide the arms beside you, palms are facing up. Imagine that you have a tennis ball underneath of your chin, and all you want to do is just roll that give it one little push, and it's going to roll off towards the front of the mat. Hands are to the sides, you can keep the tops of the feet and the tops of the palms down. And if you'd like, you can eventually lift the hands off of the ground. So then just take your tennis ball, push it away gently, and then as you inhale, press the pubic bone down, and then lengthen your chin a little bit. Eye gaze is still down towards the ground. It can be maybe even slightly towards the front of the mat, definitely not up towards the wall. Pull the fingers away. Lift the chest. I know it's difficult because you're compressing your lungs here a little bit. You only want to go as high as you feel length in your lower back. If you keep going and going and going and you're compressing here, then that's not a good thing. You want to play around with lifting the feet too. Maybe drawing them in a little bit closer. And then just relax on your left cheek. And I always got a little support underneath. A lot of times I'll take a little piece of my blanket. If one side of my neck is really tight, then I'll just bring the earth up to my cheek. Much more comfortable. Also, you can bring the arms up like goalposts. See if you can relax every cell in your body. And then switch to the other side, the other cheek. And then slowly bring your head back around. Take your left arm forward, reach your left arm forward, slide your right palm back, and then just roll yourself over onto your back. Might need to use your arms and elbows to bring you back to the center. Keep your feet on the floor. Take constructive rest, which is where your pinky toes are towards the outer edges of the mat. The feet are A little ways away from you, you kind of figure out where that is, and then draw the knees in towards the chest. Hands can be on the belly, the palms can be to the sides. Fingers soft. And receiving, welcoming, receiving. And then just ride the waves of your breath. Maybe a little attention to physical sensation, or hopefully a little more clarity, cleansing through the mind. And I love this teacher, Matthew Sanford, who is a yoga teacher and actually happens to be a paraplegic. He says, breathe for the spaces you can't yet feel. So notice if there is some sensation that you actually feel more. The breath has moved throughout the body, creating more space within opening, less tension, more peace. He says the places you can't feel are graceful, lighter, and easy when you include more of yourself to be alive. Love that. All right, so if there's anyone else that's calling your name, we still do have a little bit more than 5 minutes. So we have 7 minutes. So I want to give you a nice shavasana time, but also maybe you're feeling like you really wanted to get some hip work. Feel free to take your number 4. Maybe you want to take a moving bridge pose. So I will cue you in bridge pose if you want to take a static bridge pose, if you want to lift the arms and take them over the head and take a little bit more movement to do that. Or maybe you want to start like take now what we did in the beginning, just put a support under the hips and give them a little bit more love. So I know all of you have very nice. Sometimes intuitively just listening to your body, something will arise and fit. If not, you come with me and switch pose. So feet come in close, press into the heels, and then also into the mound of the toes. And then slowly with the forearms down, palms are down, use your shoulders, broaden through the collarbone as you feel the hips start to lift. Expansion, big breath in as you inhale, and then as you exhale, slowly coming down. You can articulate the spine if you have any spinal challenges, osteoarthritis or osteoporosis. You want to come with a flat back, gently letting the back come down. Inhale, use your inhalation to help you bring the hips up. Maybe squeeze the inner thighs a little towards one another. Help activate quadriceps. And then exhale down nice and slow. When you come down, really let yourself completely soften with the exhalation. Inhale up. Exhale down. That maybe 2 or 3 more times. Flowing with your breath, sometimes closing your eyes and just letting the breath lead the way in whatever it is that you are doing can actually create like a moving meditation. And then slowly coming back into the being and the mind. Take a breath in through the nose, soft sigh through the mouth. And then setting yourself up, staying exactly as you are in your shavasana. If you have a wall or a chair that you'd like to use, I'm going to use a bolster because I have the bolster handy, but feel free to use a support to take a modified legs up the wall, or use your couch cushion. Oh, I see Kathleen has her couch there. Perfect. If you want to be completely flat, whatever it is for you. Give your maybe some space in your legs, letting the inner thighs kind of roll out. Using your eye pillow as well. Just let yourself peacefully land where you are. Trusting that the breath is moving and finding places to restore all of the breath, work, and the movements, poses, all the circulation, absorbing in places to have all that energy to tap into when you need it. And slowly start your awareness back. When you're at home, if you'd like to stay there, feel free to do that. Otherwise, give yourself some gentle movements, maybe just rocking the head a little side to side. Bringing your way over onto your right side. Drawing the knees in towards the chest and slowly making your way over. Once you're there, just take a moment to reflect on something that you're grateful for at this very moment. Maybe a little extra gratitude for all that your body is doing to keep you alive at this moment. I'm Michelle. Take an inhale, reach the top of the head. Exhale, palms come together to the heart. Tip the chin, acknowledging that heart space. And let the light within you shine brightly today and every day. Namaste. Thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your day.